I want to talk a little bit about the different types of hearing protection that you might think about using when you're out at the range doing your live fire training. Now, if you notice in almost every video that you'll see at Personal Defense Network, I'm wearing earplugs and not ear muffs. But in our student scenes, when you actually see us teaching classes, you'll see that there's a mix. Generally speaking, I recommend earplugs. Now, first and foremost, we have to remember that the reason you're wearing hearing protection is to protect your hearing. And what a lot of people don't know is that earplugs are actually higher rated in protection in almost every case than the ear muffs. And all you have to do is go to your local gun shop, go to your sporting goods store, take a look at the protection ratings. You're looking for the NRR, the noise reduction ratings, and take a look. Now, certainly you can find ear muffs that are rated higher than some of the earplugs. But in almost every case that I can think of, every gun shop, every sporting goods store I've been to, even hardware stores, places where they sell hearing protection for working with power tools and things like that, you're going to see that the noise reduction ratings are going to be higher on these earplugs than they are on the muffs. If you are looking for the most protection, earplugs are the way to go. Now, you can double them up. You can go ahead and take the ear plugs, put them in, and put the ear muffs over them, but it's important to understand that you're not really doubling the protection. Of course, you're going to be more protected, but you aren't literally taking the exponential number of the noise reduction rating and doubling it. And what I mean by an exponential number is that, much like some other numbers you may be familiar with, like Richter scale, when you go up from 28, in this case, for example, to 32, you're not just adding 4 points. You're actually adding an exponential increase. And in fact, when you go from 32 to 33 with this plug to this plug, you may not think that that's a very big difference, but in fact it is very significant. So even a change in one number is significant, and that's why the difference between typical earplugs that are rated at like a 32 rating are going to be much, much better than a 26 in this case. What do we got here? A 23, going all the way down to a 23 for these earmuffs. And in this case, where we have a package that includes plugs and muffs, as well as eye protection, obviously, you're going from a 27 to a 31. And what's important to understand is that a lot of people will, for example, recommend electronic hearing protection. Well, the electronic hearing protection is going to make it easier for a range officer or for an instructor, someone who's out on the range actually teaching, or for two people who are working together to communicate. It makes it easier for you to hear. And then you count on the fact that the electronic hearing protection will cut off and the muff will provide hearing protection during your actual live fire session. But it's important to remember that in most cases, that is a lower number than you're going to get from the earplugs. So personally, I'm a fan of going with earplugs and just talking a little louder, being very clear on the range, being very clear in your commands, being very clear in your requests and your conversations with other people, knowing that the range is cold, taking the earplug out. If you combine the earplugs with the electronic earmuffs, if you are hard of hearing or if it's a windy day, a noisy day, you have a large group of people that you're trying to communicate with, that may be the best bet for both protection and hearing. But I would caution you not to rely on the earmuffs for the best protection out on the range. You also get compromised when you put a stock up against your cheek sometimes, where it'll open the seal on the earmuffs, which can be very dangerous. And even just wearing glasses, because most glasses with the earpieces are not made to take into account the fact that you need a good seal 360 degrees around the ear, and that can also compromise your safety. So for my money, definitely go with the earplugs. A little bit harder to take in and out, a little bit more time, effort, and energy, but they're definitely going to protect your hearing at a higher level than the muffs on a live fire shooting range.